Hi, welcome to my video blog. First, a little bit about me. I love when calls me James. My friends call me Jazz. The internet knows me as Jazzrack. Of course, you found me. You know that. You found me. I made a promise to myself yesterday. No, technically, I made a promise to myself Monday. So I'm a little late. That I would start this video blog. And I've been having trouble giving myself permission to chase my real dream. I have under an hour before the third day of a class at Creative Live. It's Turn Your Talent into a Business in 12 Steps with Beate Chalette. And I went in there hoping that I could turn this business idea I've been working on, that all my research and my numbers tell me works best as a non-for-profit. Hoping to find some way that I had done the numbers wrong, my research was wrong, there was something I was missing. No, I wasn't missing anything, my research was right. It's a kick-ass idea for a charity to help my neighborhood. I live in a ghetto, my neighborhood needs art, my neighborhood has lots of artists who need training, who need an outlet. I have an idea to do that, but it only works as a charity. It doesn't work as a business. So I was crushed for a little while. Great, what am I going to do? I want to chase my dream, and my dream won't work. So then I always thought, as a little boy, there was two things I always wanted to be. I wanted to be a race car driver, or I wanted to be and I was actually extremely specific on this. I wanted to be a late night radio host. I don't even know if they had late night radio hosts back in the mid to late 70s. I was always a night owl, so I wanted to talk to other night owls. And even as a kid, I was an anxiety riddled. This isn't something that's just come on to me as an adult. If you want to hear an embarrassing story, in the second, third grade, I would rather pee my pants in class than raise my hand and say I need to go to the bathroom. Explain that one to me, but that's what it is. It's also when I found out that children can be nicer than staff. So how am I sitting here today with 50 minutes to go before class begins, and now I've got to restart my whole business idea? How did I get here? And it's interesting because traditional marketing usually turns me off. Oh, and it does. Every time she turns in and she says, buy the pitch to buy the workbook, I have to resist the urge to close the window. And when the two hosts talk, and I love you guys are awesome, so please, this is just constructive criticism coming from an anxiety-riddled person. You remind me of those presenters on the PBS telephones. No, seriously, you sound just like them. It's awesome. I really do. I think it's awesome. But you do. You sound like the PBS people. Not that one's not a turnoff. It's just amusing. I guess distracts me. I haven't had any sleep, so you guys got to excuse me. I've been up for most of 2 days because at first I was crushed, and then I realized that my real dream is to do a late night radio show, and there's not an easier way to do it. There's not a better time to do it than to now. I mean, I know how to do it. I do webcasts every other day for a little hobby site thing I do. I mean, they're only 15-20 minutes long, but the fundamental principle is the same. I already know how to do it. I just don't know how to market it. I don't know who my customers are. I don't know. All right, so once I build an audience, who am I gonna, I know my audience. I know my potential audience. My potential audience is night owls, anxiety-ridden people, and I even have an idea of who my customers are. In fact, it's one of them is self-help people. These people need people like Creative Live, as an example. But the marketing techniques that you're using are actually turning them off. And so how did I, even though these marketing techniques are turning me off, decide to push through that? Well, it's because I spent a year and a half listening to Chase Jarvis, his hour-and-a-half interviews, and they give so freely of information, and that is and Chase Jarvis just sits out the way, and he lets these guys give just so freely information, and the one that finally broke it, and it was an old one. But some of you are sitting here talking, and some guys, are we actually giving information, or are we just pulling BS out of our ass? And right there, I knew they were honest. When you're able to call yourself out on your own, think, you know what, at this point, this answer is just, I'm just making up words. I'm just saying the same thing over and over again. And to me, that was the moment that I said, all right, I can trust Chase Jarvis. I can trust the people he brings on. Everybody has been trustworthy. So it wasn't at that moment. It was the building. It was the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back. I was watching an old episode, by the way. And it's been an interesting path, because last August I had gotten an infection. Didn't really realize it until I kind of walked into the hospital, and then I was within hours of liver failure. I don't drink. So, this probably what saved me, to be honest. I was within hours of dying. I got through that without too many ill effects, and then in November, I hit my head, and I've got memory loss from November, December, January. I think most of February is hazy. In March, I started to feel normal again. Normal-ish. I still have a buzz in my head, and my anxiety level has been kicked on to a higher level. My baseline of anxiety is actually higher than it used to be. This is before the head injury. And so it's forced me to take all this knowledge that I've gained these last few years. And so look, I've got to decide. I can't fight this anymore. I've got to come to a relationship with it. It's not going to go away. Every time I fight it, it fights back. So, all right, it's a relationship. I love you. I love the anxiety relief part of me. Without it, I don't have the other part. But you can no longer control me. You can't do it. My anxiety can no longer control me. I can honor it. I can say, look, I will give you a couple hours a day to pace the floor. I will honor your time. I will, on those days where, you know what, I can't go out the house, then I can't go out the house. But but I can't let the reason become an excuse. Not being able to go out the house one day, okay, well, because of anxiety was the reason. Letting that one day turn into 4 days later before I finally get the blog post up is not acceptable anymore. And I know I'm probably rambling at this point, so I don't want to go much longer. So I want to say thank you to Creative Live and all the team. I want to say thank you to Beate Chalette for crushing my dream and making me chase the real one. And I want to thank Chase Jarvis for helping me trust it. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Well, I'll see you. I'm going to try and power through. I'm exhausted. I've gone 2 days with very little sleep. On top of it's been an anxiety riddled last couple of weeks. I had the EEG. I had a CAT scan for my head. We had Mother's Day. I went to a baseball game on Monday, and I was supposed to do this blog post then because I was excited about going to the class. It would have been interesting to see the contrast, to be honest. But I literally couldn't sit down for 3 hours after I got home from the baseball game for taking my girlfriend to the baseball game. We sat at the front row of a River Cats game for her birthday Mother's Day present. It was a nice night out. It was a nice time. But even with the nicest time I had in a long time, I still had to come home and pace for a couple 3 hours before I could even sit down. So that's my biggest hurdle, is finding that working relationship with my anxiety. I can teach myself anything I need to teach myself. I can go to these classes at Creative Live. I've already enrolled myself in marketing classes at Western Governors University. The knowledge I can gain, it's the confidence, I guess is the proper word, I'll say it, to say my anxiety is not a hindrance to my future. It is my future. My trip through anxiety, my story, is what connects me to my audience, and that connection to my audience is what I sell to advertisers or blah blah blah, to my actual customers. I understand the business plan concept. I'm going to have to sit down and work it out. But again, thank you, Beate, for crushing my dream and making me chase the real one. Thank you, Chase Jarvis, for making me trust her, or allowing me to. How do I put that? Allowing me to trust her. That's good. I can't say more than thank you. I'll see you guys tomorrow.